Welcome back to DC Silver Age Storytime. Today's story comes from Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, number 23, published in February 1961, with story by Otto Binder and art by Kurt Schaffenberger. Lois Lane, the impetuous girl reporter, has gotten herself into many strange situations. The most amazing of all is the day she fantastically changes shape to become as tall as a tree, changes into a human rope, and ties herself into a knot. Watch Lois stretch and stretch when she performs the 10 feats of elastic glass. Golly, Lois Lane wrapped herself around the whole building like a human rope. What would my cousin Superman say about her elastic glass tricks? I couldn't resist thrilling these orphan kids, but now I've used up 9 out of the 10 elastic feats I was allowed. Only one is left for me for catching a dangerous criminal. In Metropolis one morning, as girl reporter Lois Lane walks to work. I'll cut through the park, and goodness, there was an explosion somewhere ahead. Blam! That's odd. That man wasn't even startled at the sound, like me and everybody else. Well, I'll see what happened in the park. Shortly, another statue blow up. That's the 5th one destroyed by the mysterious wrecker, as the newspaper calls him. Yes, Miss Lane, he uses homemade bombs. Luckily, no lives have been lost in any of the explosions. But before that happens, I hope we discover who the wrecker is. The man who wasn't surprised at the explosion, his valise could have held the bomb. I'm going to question him. When Lois returns, he's a sculptor, eh? But he's out. Wait, Jimmy Olsen lives nearby. He can use his ultrasonic signal watch and tell Superman to watch for Raphael Byron on his patrol. But at the apartment, Jimmy refuses. Maybe Byron wasn't startled at the explosion because he's deaf. Lois, Superman has more important jobs to do than follow weak evidence like that. Then you can help me solve this case. Myself, Jimmy. With this serum that your friend Professor Potter gave you, I can become elastic glass and slip under the door into Byron's studio to search for evidence. No, Lois, that's tricky stuff to use, as I found out when I was elastic lad. But Lois insists, and Jimmy finally gives in partly. But such a small dose, Jimmy. Or why such a small dose? More than that might get you in trouble, Lois. 10 drops is just enough to let you do 10 elastic feats, no more. Presently, I drank it. Now be a pal and lend me your special elastic costume, Jimmy. All right, Lois. Since it stretches, it will fit anybody. Put it on later at the office after the elastic serum starts working. Presently at the Daily Planet office. It's working now, Jimmy. Look, I can stretch my fingers. I'll try another test to make sure I've turned into elastic glass. A girl would think of that test. How easy it is to use lipstick with my lips stretched out now. Now I'll change into your elastic costume in Perry's office. He hasn't come in yet. After Lois dons the rubbery costume. When Perry arrives, tell him to reserve the front page for my big scoop exposing the wrecker. But but wear your coat to hide the costume, Lois. If Superman saw it, he might bawl me out for letting a girl take a chance as elastic glass. And look, the name in the costume has changed somehow. Soon at Byron's studio. It's unlawful to break into somebody's home, but I'm not really going in, only stretching my neck up to that open window to look around for evidence that this sculptor is the wrecker. But I don't see anything suspicious. He might have made a clever hiding place for his homemade bomb materials. I'll have to come back later when he's home and catch him in the act of making another bomb. Meanwhile, I'll follow up other news, like that rare new animal at the zoo. Presently, at the zoo, the new species of ape is spotted like a leopard. I'll bet if my coat didn't cover my elastic costume, I'd be the center of attraction. Jeez. Always thinking about herself. Wait, there's a pickpocket at work, but there's no policeman around. He's leaving. If I accuse him, he'd only run away. It's a job for elastic glass. I'll take my cue from that boa cage, remove my coat, and coil my stretched out body around him. He can't see my head, and just what I'd hoped for. Help! A boa constrictor must have escaped. Help! Shortly, as the crook's screams attract attention. His own cries brought a cop. Then he fainted. I'll slither away before anybody sees me. What's wrong? Hey, it's Fingers Floyd, the wanted pickpocket. Guess he fell and knocked himself out. I'll gel him after he comes to. After elastic glass snaps back to normal. With the 3 stretches I did before, that makes 4 elastic feats I've used up out of the 10 Jimmy serum allows me. I must save the rest to prove later that Raphael Byron is the wrecker. Lois's next assignment takes her to a Metropolis movie studio to interview the producer of Girl Astronaut. I'm glad the Daily Planet will give me a new science fiction picture publicity. Will give my new science fiction picture publicity, Miss Lane. I'll turn on the current in this robot space monster and he'll jump to life. But the motor is dead and, oh no, it needs repair. And the engineer who built it is in Europe. I'm sunk. I'll lose my shirt. Poor chap. I'll help him even if it costs me one more elastic feet. I'll elongate my body and become the monster's motor. Hidden inside the hollow robot monster, Lois animates it. Why, I guess the motor just had to warm up. It's working. Places, everybody. This is a take. I know from having read the script that the monster threatens the girl astronaut. Cameras whir, and then the brave space heroine fires her ray gun. It's really a harmless light flash gun. Oh, the light has blinded me. The monster is supposed to flee, but which way? I can't see. Great Scott, the motor must be defective. The robot monster is scaring the daylights out of that girl who just came in. Eee! Passing by on his patrol, Superman overhears the cries and, hurry, Superman, the frightened girl may fall into that deep pit. She might be injured. Got her. Why, it's Lana Lang. She was covering the movie for her TV newsreel service. And just as Lois emerges from the prop monster, drat! By doing the producer a good turn, I played a dirty trick on myself. The rescue gave Lana an excuse to thank Superman with a kiss. The hussy. I'll slip out without revealing I animated the blundering space monster. 5 elastic feats used up out of my original 10. I can't afford to waste any more. But shortly, oh darling, how clumsy of me to drop my engagement ring down that grating. Here goes, soft-hearted or soft-headed elastic lass again. I'll stretch one arm down and fish up her ring. Lois pretends she found it on the sidewalk. Oh, I'm so happy to have my ring back. Goodness, elastic feat number 6. If this keeps going, I won't have any left to get the wrecker with. All because I can't stop being a Girl Scout. But the flying newsroom helicopter whirls down and, Lois, Perry wants us to cover an acrobatic act at Midvale Orphanage out of town. Just my luck, Jimmy. Keep your fingers crossed that I won't be trapped into wasting any more of my elastic powers. I've only 4 left. At the orphanage, however, I'm sorry, children. I just got word that the acrobats broke down and the swinging Swanson's car won't get here. I knew it, Jimmy. I can't let those orphans' kids be disappointed. I'll have to entertain them. After an introduction by Jimmy, Elastic Lass puts on her own amusing show. I'll show the kids how I can get up to the high trapeze just by stretching my legs out. Terrific, great. Meanwhile, unknown to anyone, Supergirl returns from her secret patrol of Midvale. Elastic Lass is wonderful. Why, that's Lois Lane, who works in the same office with my cousin Clark Superman Kent. But my existence on Earth must remain unknown, so I'll change to my other identity before going in. When Linda Lee joins the other orphans, she spies danger. Rip! Look, Elastic Lass is tying herself in a knot. Goodness, the bolt holding up the chain of that high trapeze is pulling loose. Lois will fall unless I use the heat generated by my infrared vision to fuse the bolts tight. Now Lois can finish her act safely. For the final act, Elastic Lass goes outside the orphanage and, wow, she stretched herself out into a human rope and wrapped herself around the whole building. When the show ends and Linda Lee watches Jimmy and Lois depart, see, Jimmy, I told you I wouldn't get in trouble as Elastic Lass. I didn't need Superman's help even once. Little does Lois know Superman's cousin secretly hated her. Back in Metropolis, it is time for Lois to find the sculptor at home. Now to prove Raphael Byron is the wrecker, Jimmy. Oh dear, after those acrobatics acts, I've used up all but one of my 10 elastic powers. Oh, I still think you've got the wrong man, Lois, but I'll land you at this house and see what happens. After arriving, Lois is dismayed when the door is locked, but my elastic power will help me slip through the keyhole. Goodness, nothing stretched out except my nose. I guess your dose of elastic serum was only 9.5 instead of 10 feet. Sorry, Lois. All the window blinds are down, so we can't check on Byron. but I'll poke my nose through the keyhole. If that does any good. My elastic nose can't help me get any evidence, and I can't see through the door, so I lost out. Wait, I'm getting my big clue after all. The next moment, as Lois's nose snaps back to normal. Jimmy, I could prove Byron is the wrecker if we could get in. I'll bring policemen to break the door down. After Jimmy returns with law officers. Aha! Making another homemade bomb, eh? You're the wrecker. All right, I confess. I had the materials hidden in that hollow statue. That's why I couldn't find the evidence the first time. My scheme was to blow up all the statues in the park. Then the mayor would have to put my great works of art there. I'm a genius, you know. Later at the planet, after Lois changes to her normal clothing and tells her story to Clark Kent. But how did you know the wrecker was making a bomb, Lois, if you couldn't see him? I smelled the fumes of the sulfur. He was mixing with other ingredients to make gunpowder. Look, Lois, just before you put your nose through the keyhole, I snapped this picture. What a nose for news you have. Oh, my goodness, how awful I look. Tear it up, Jimmy. Don't you dare let Superman see me that way. If Lois only knew that it's too late for that.